Hello, friends. Welcome back to part 4 of the Holy Grail out of Idylls of the King by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Then Sir Bors had ridden on softly, and sorrowing for our Lancelot because his former madness, once the talk and scandal of our table, had returned. For Lancelot's kith and kin so worship him that ill to him is ill to them, to Bors beyond the rest. He well had been content not to have seen, so Lancelot might have seen, the holy cup of healing. And, indeed, being so clouded with his grief and love, small heart was his after the holy quest. If God would send the vision, well; if not, the quest and he were in the hands of heaven. And then with small adventure met Sir Bors rode to the lonest tract of all the realm, and found a people there among the crags, a race and blood, a remnant that were left, Paynim amid their circles, and the stones they pitch up straight to heaven, and their wise men were strong in that old magic which can trace the wandering of the stars, and scoffed at him in this high quest as a simple thing. Told him he followed, almost Arthur's words, a mocking fire. What other fire than he, whereby the blood beats, and the blossom blows, and the sea rolls, and all the world is warmed? And when his answer chafed them, the rough crowd, hearing he had a difference with their priests, seized him and bound and plunged him into a cell of great piled stones, and lying bound in there in darkness through innumerable hours, he heard the hollow ringing heavens sweep over him till by miracle. What else? Heavy as it was, a great stone slipped and fell, such as no wind could move, and through the gap glimmered the streaming scud. Then came a night still as the day was loud, and through the gap the 7 clear stars of Arthur's Table Round. For, brother, so one night, because they roll through such a round in heaven, we named the stars, rejoicing in ourselves and in our King. And these, like bright eyes of familiar friends, in on him shone. And then to me, said good Bors, beyond all hopes of mine, who scarce had prayed or asked it for myself, across the 7 clear stars, O grace to me, in color like the fingers of a hand before a burning taper, the sweet Grail gilded and passed, and close upon it pealed a sharp quick thunder. Afterwards, a maid, who kept her holy faith among her kin in secret, entering, loosed and let him go. To whom the monk, and I remember now that pelican on the cask, Sir Bors it was who spake so low and sadly at our board, and mighty reverent at her grace was he, a square-set man and honest, and his eyes, an outdoor sign of all the warmth within, smiled with his lips, a smile beneath a cloud, but heaven had meant it for a sunny one. Ay, ay, Sir Bors, who else? But when ye reached the city, found ye all your knights returned, or was there sooth in Arthur's prophecy? Tell me, and what said each, and what the king? Then answered Perceval, and that can I, brother, and truly, since the living words of so great men as Lancelot and our king pass not from the door to door and out again, but sit within the house. Oh, when we reached the city, our horses stumbling as they trode on heaps of ruin, hornless unicorns, cracked basilisks, and splintered cockatrices, and shattered talbots, which had left the stones raw that they fell from, brought us to the hall. And there sat Arthur on the dais throned, and those that had gone out upon the quest wasted and worn, and but a tithe of them, and those that had not stood before the king, who when he saw me rose and bade me hail, saying, a welfare in thine eyes reproves our fear of some disastrous chance for thee on hill or plain, at sea or flooding ford. So fierce a gale made havoc here of late among the strange devices of our kings. Yea, shook this newer, stronger hall of ours, and from the statue Merlin moulded for us, half wrenched a golden wing. But now, the quest, this vision, hast thou seen the holy cup that Joseph brought of old to Glastonbury? So when I told him all thyself hast heard, Ambrosius, and my fresh but fixed resolve to pass away into the quiet life, he answered not, but sharply turning, asked of Gawain, Gawain, was this quest for thee? Nay, lord, said Gawain, not for such as I. Therefore I communed with a saintly man who made me sure the quest was not for me. For I was much awearied of the quest, but found a silk pavilion in a field, and merry maidens in it. And then this gale tore my pavilion from the tenting pin, and blew my merry maidens all about with all discomfort. Yea, and but for this, my 12-month and a day were pleasant to me. He ceased, and Arthur turned, to whom at first he saw not, for Sir Bors, on entering, pushed athwart the throng to Launcelot, caught his hand, held it, and there, half hidden by him, stood, until the king espied him, saying to him, Hail, Bors! If ever loyal man and true could see it, thou hast seen the Grail. And Bors, ask me not, for I may not speak of it. I saw it, and the tears were in his eyes. Then there remained but Launcelot, for the rest spake but of sundry perils in the storm. Perhaps, like him of Cana in Holy Writ, our Arthur kept his best until the last. Thou, too, my Launcelot, asked the king, my friend, our mightiest, hath this quest availed for thee? Our mightiest, answered Launcelot with a groan. O king! And when he paused, methought I spied a dying fire of madness in his eyes. O king, my friend, if friend of thine I be, happier are those who welter in their sin, swine in the mud, that cannot see for slime of the ditch. But in me lived a sin so strange, of such a kind, that all of pure, noble, and knightly in me twined and clung round that one sin, until the wholesome flower and poisonous grew together, each as each, not to be plucked asunder. And when thy knights swear, I swear with them only in the hope that I could touch or see the Holy Grail, they might be plucked asunder. Then I spake to one, our most holy saint, who wept and said that save they could be plucked asunder, all my quest were but in vain. To whom I vowed that I would work according as he willed. And forth I went, and while I yearned and strove to tear the twain asunder in my heart, my madness came upon me as of old, and whipped me into waste fields far away. There I was beaten down by little men, mean knights, to whom the moving of my sword and shadow of my spear had been enow to scare them from me once. And then I came, all in my folly, to the naked shore, wide flats where nothing but coarse grasses grew. But such a blast my king began to blow, so loud a blast along the shore and sea, ye could not hear the waters for the blast. Though heaped in mounds and ridges, all the sea drove like a cataract, and all the sand swept like a river, and the clouded heavens were shaken with the motion and the sound. And blackening in the sea foam swayed a boat, half swallowed in it, anchored with a chain. And in my madness to myself I said, I will embark and lose myself, and in the great sea wash away my sin. I burst the chain, I sprang into the boat. 7 days I drove along the dreary deep, and with me drove the moon and all the stars. And the wind fell, and on the 7th night I heard the shingle grinding in the surge, and felt the boat shock earth. And looking up, behold, the enchanted towers of Carbonek, a castle like a rock upon a rock, with chasm-like portals open to the sea, and steps that met the breaker. There was none stood near it but a lion on each side that kept the entry, and the moon was full. Then from the boat I leapt, and up the stairs. There drew my sword. With sudden flaring manes those two great beasts rose upright like a man. Each gripped a shoulder, and I stood between. And when I would have smitten them, heard a voice, Doubt not. Go forward. If thou doubt, the beasts will tear thee piecemeal. Then with violence the sword was dashed out from my hand and fell, and up into the sounding hall I passed, but nothing in the sounding hall I saw, no bench nor table, painting on the wall or shield of night, only the rounded moon through the tall oriel on the rolling sea. But always in the quiet house I heard, clear as a lark, high o'er me as a lark, sweet voice singing in the topmost tower, to the eastward. Up I climbed 1,000 steps with pain, as in a dream I seemed to climb for ever, and at the last I reached a door. A light was in the crannies, and I heard, Glory and joy and honor to our Lord and to the holy vessel of the Grail. Then in my madness I essayed the door. It gave, and through a stormy glare, a heat as from a 7 times heated furnace, I, blasted and burnt, and blinded as I was, with such fierceness that I swooned away. Oh, yet methought I saw the Holy Grail, all palled in crimson samite, and around great angels, awful shapes, and wings and eyes. And but for all my madness and my sin, and then my swooning, I had sworn I saw that which I saw. But what I saw was veiled and covered, and this quest was not for me. So speaking and here ceasing, Launcelot left the hall long silent, till Sir Gawain, nay, brother, I need not tell thee foolish words. A reckless and irreverent knight was he, now boldened by the silence of his king. Well, I will tell thee, O king my liege, he said, hath Gawain failed in any quest of thine, when I have stinted stroke and fought in field? But as for thine, my good friend Perceval, thy holy nun and thou have driven men mad, yea, made our mightiest madder than our least. But by mine eyes and by my ears swear, I will be deafer than the blue-eyed cat, and thrice as blind as any noonday owl, to holy virgins in their ecstasies henceforward. Deafer, said the blameless king, Gawain, and blinder unto holy things. Hope not to make thyself by idle vows, being too blind to have desire to see. But if indeed there came a sign from heaven, blessed are Bors, Launcelot, and Perceval. For these have seen according to their sight for every fiery prophet in old times, and all the sacred madness of the bard, when God made music through to them, but could speak his music by the framework and the chord. And as ye saw it, ye have spoken truth. Nay, but thou errest, Launcelot. Never yet could all of true and noble knight and man twine round one sin, whatever it might be, with such a closeness but apart there grew, save that he were the swine thou spakest of, some root of knighthood and pure nobleness, whereto see thou that it may bear its flower. And spake I not too truly, O my knights? Was I too dark a prophet when I said to those who went upon the holy quest that most of them would follow wandering fires, lost in the quagmire, lost to me and gone, and left me gazing at a barren board and a lean order, scarce returned to tithe, and out of those to whom the vision came, my greatest hardly will believe he saw. Another hath beheld it afar off, and leaving human wrongs to right themselves, cares but to pass into the silent life. And one hath had the vision face to face, and now his chair desires him here in vain, however they may crown him otherwise. And some among you held that if the king had seen the sight he would have sworn the vow, not easily, seeing that the king must guard that which he rules, and is but as the hind to whom a space of land is given to plough, who may not wander from the allotted field before his work be done, but, being done, let visions of the night or of the day come as they will, and many a time they come, until this earth he walks on seems not earth, this light that strikes his eyeballs is not light, this air that smites his forehead is not air, but vision, yea, his very hand and foot, in moments when he feels he cannot die, and knows himself no vision to himself, nor the high God of vision, nor that one who rose again. Ye have seen what ye have seen. So spake the king. I knew not all he meant.